joining us. Little impromptu episode for the High Voltage Live Show and the Electrical Code Discussion for Awesome Electricians Group, and as well as the Stallcup Publications. Joined by James Stallcup, the CEO and creator of Stallcup Electrical Education, and it's really awesome. Thanks so much for you putting all this together. So glad I was able to put together some stuff, and we were able to kind of, get it together. And like I say, your materials and publications are legendary. I've been asked a whole bunch out on the job site if they're ready for publications to be purchased and everything. So that's really what we're doing this show for. And I really appreciate you putting it together, and it's so awesome. We give them a hook 'em horns from the Mile City as always. And like I say, we'll kind of let you kind of do your own thing tonight, James. But kind of first, I want to kind of run past this little thing that I've been running into, and it's kind of weird. I've been hearing about it on all these different fronts. Ryan Jackson has a little thing on his disclaimer on his, videos and stuff. And I kind of wanted to see what your take is on this. So apparently what it is NFPA is putting up a thing when you go renew with like Link or something. I don't know if this is true or not, but they supposedly put up this disclaimer that says that you cannot use Link for educational purposes. And so I have some audio of some guys who've been running into that problem, and you could kind of just, maybe we'll just go through it real quick. And it's really not that long. I think it's like about 2 minutes. But just see what you think and what your opinion is on what's happening. I know we've already kind of went through this, but we'll see what your take is on this. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now let's move into the other thing. I just want to shout out to NFPA. I know they won't listen to anything I do, and they certainly won't listen this far into a broadcast. Shame on you, NFPA, for sending these notices. When you sign up, you redid it so that they have to sign up and check something when you use Link or the free access online. It does not allow educators to use the content in order to teach people the NEC. We have to paraphrase it.
So first of all, I don't understand how you have to like sign something saying that you promise you'll paraphrase from Link or something. Like, to me, this whole thing just sounds weird. It sounds like made up to me, but I don't know. I haven't seen this yet. I don't know if you've seen it on.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, did they do? They did
Yeah,
something like that.
and I don't use NFPA Link anyway.
Okay.
So the only thing I use NFPA Link for is if I need to look something up real quick. Like we've done the podcast, I pulled up NFPA Link, but usually it's somebody that, like Jeremy Thursday was arguing something on there, and we were able to pull the text up real quick. But most of the stuff we do on ours, we wasn't doing it as using it to do educational training or anything, and going through it and using, because I'm sure what they're finding out, a lot of people are using their pictures and things like that.
Right.
But most of the stuff we do, ours is in a PDF. I actually type the text in and everything, and have everything set up. And I'm not using NFPA Link for that, so it doesn't bother me. But if I don't know about paraphrasing, because you can actually use NEC text. So I'm not sure where they're going with that.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't heard about it, and me personally, I've done almost exclusively all my code questions like word for word from the actual NEC word for word.
Well, sure,
I'm not scared about it. I'm not scared about them saying I did anything. And
hey, you gonna tell a testing agency that goes out doing all the testing, and they quote word for word what it says in the NEC? They can't use that. Sure. This has already been proven, but I know where they're going. People are probably. This wouldn't surprise me one bit. Them telling them to get an account you know, from one of their training programs, and you click over to that section and they've got it, you know, linking over the NFPA link. That's probably what it is.
All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to kind of get a little thing, but just listen. I think it's kind of funny.
Paraphrasing does not help the student learn the NEC for an exam prep. If you want to create things like code changes and whatnot, paraphrasing is fine. But it does not help people, because people write code exams or writing it, and even these exams that are being written are based on verbatim words from the code. So they should be forced to have to paraphrase theirs. It's not right, it's a problem. NFPA, if you're an educator and you're teaching other people, you should be able to use LINK, you should be able to use the NFPA 70 document, as well as other documents for that. That's called transformational information. It's protected under the Fair Use Act. You're not copying, you're not reselling, you're utilizing the material for commentary and educational purposes, regardless of whether you get
this. See, this is Paul, who doesn't want to do any work. He wants to use other people's stuff and modify it like he did Charles Miller's.
Mm-hmm.
And how dare them not allow me to use all that hard work they did? You know, he's probably using pictures of theirs and things like that. That's what I have a feeling's probably happening.
100%.
So
yeah, I think there's a lot of missed like things that come in here that I don't think that they really care. Like if we go and throw it up on our YouTube video while we're arguing with Weedman, and dude, it was really funny because I have these questions on NEC for Dummies. People are joining up there. Really awesome. You guys want a really fun group, check out NEC for Dummies. And I have these questions in there, and people are answering the questions. And one of the guys answers, "I'm Weedman, and I don't know nothing." So it was pretty funny. I just thought it was hilarious. Like, I wished I would have taken a screenshot of it, but it was so hilarious because it just goes to show that all these people are like getting in all the backstories and all the inside jokes. It's pretty fun, but we'll check it out.
behavior. It's irrelevant. Every textbook that's used in a university is basically sharing verbatim the information from that textbook. Verbatim. Same Fair Use Act. No different. The problem is NFPA create this situation where they're being bullies. ICC is the same way. They're all the same way. They want to act like that is their copyrighted material. It is not. And I think it's a problem because they print it and they sell it for profit. Don't think they're just a nonprofit, okay? A nonprofit is a fancy way of saying everybody that's employed gets paid. It's just you end up with zero. It's a fancy word for nonprofit, okay? So at the end of the day, Jim Pauley gets his salary. All those others get their salary, okay? So the point of the matter is the information that's out there is for use and educational purposes only. You should not be bullied by these disclaimers that say you can't use it for educational purposes. Shame on them. You got to remember, the National Electrical Code is developed by you, the general public, by us that sit on code panels. NFPA cannot vote. NFPA cannot chime in on material other than helping give direction during meetings. They cannot have any input on the development of the NEC, yet they can publish it, print it, and sell it under the guise that they're going to do good work, that they're going to help make things safer. And I don't disagree with that. What I disagree with is they treat it like it's their material. And yes, they force all of us on code panel to sign a document acknowledging that the work we do becomes theirs. I get it. I get it.
So I don't think Paul does get it, because the thing is, like, when you look at this, I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to like directly steal their content and use it as his content, versus like how we do our stuff, how we make our own content, and then we just use that as like a supporting document. So I think it's kind of like two different things. I think he's kind of missing that whole point, that they don't want you to just, like exactly what you were saying, because it didn't make sense until you really described it. But he's trying to go and take their illustrations and stuff directly from Link and use them for like educational purposes, and that's not his content. That's not his property to do that with.
That's exactly right.
So
And this is a good example of some things that I've stated over time. And but I will agree with him with one point that I don't believe NFPA should have the right to go out and do training and stuff and compete against other people because they're nonprofit.
sure.
But and I was an instructor for NFPA for 30 years, but I've always thought that. And a lot of other instructors, I've heard them say it, that taught for NFPA. That just isn't right, that they go out and compete against all of us, because they're nonprofit. And I've always agreed with that. You're nonprofit, you shouldn't be able to go out and do that. And now I agree. I think they should be able to sell the publication and make money from their publications and things like that. But, when you put it out there and it's adopted by the states and everything, people can use that material.
True.
Or the text, I say, of the
Yeah.
NEC. But taking their illustrations and all of that, that's wrong.
I think that's where there's kind of a little bit of a misinterpretation, but we'll keep going here. It's almost done.
But to tell educators or to have something pop up that that we have to agree to, that I can't use it in a YouTube video or I can't use it in a course or something, because they fear you into this being a copyright issue. It's fair use. It's fair use. They didn't even create it. They didn't even write it. Now, that's different in a commentary. They want to sell a handbook? That's fine. That's commentary. But not the document. And I am strongly against it. They know my position, but they don't care. Right? They don't care what my position is. So anyway, and I'm probably the only educator out there who will speak up, because most of them want to keep this fluffy relationship with NFPA, and I don't give a shit. I'm not friends with any of them. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Just, you call a spade a spade. It is what it is. I have a hard enough time convincing people that it's a fair process to have NFPA do this and make it seem even more like a money grab. Who do you think NFPA's biggest promoters are? Educators. I tell people all the time to buy link. I promote it all the time in all my videos. I tell people, buy link, buy link, buy link. I tell people to get code books. I tell them to get them.
So, that's pretty much the end, but it's really funny how he just wants to put himself on the island like he's the only educator out there that's like fighting against the man or whatever. But the thing is that's so stupid, that I think is so dumb about this, is that it's like he's doing like two different things and he's not realizing it. So link is okay if you use the text, but like if you're using their full slides as educational purposes, selling them, that's where they have the problem.
No problem with that.
And the thing is that's funny is he is saying, oh, it's fair use. Well, yeah, the words that they're using is fair use, but you're not just taking a link slide and making it your slide.
First of all, why would you direct them and use link? I don't understand that. The way that I've done it all these years is the people had a code book or everything was self-contained within my own programs, and that's not the way it's coming off what he's saying there. And I think he's providing links over there and using the text and stuff for people to go to. I hadn't seen his problem, but that's what it sounds like.
Sounds to me like that, but I just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention. And like there's one thing that Paul hates is when I bring up sounds like another clown show to me. But like I say, we use link in our YouTube videos and stuff, and sounds like he's getting some heat from NFPA over that.
Actually, the only time we ever use link is if we need to pull something up so everybody can see the text.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't even use it. It's just, something I have access to that's quick that I can pull up for people to see it. And usually it's having to explain something for somebody like Jeremy Weedman who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Dude, that was so funny, man. Like, I'm going to crack up, like, as we start getting through with the NEC for Dummies when people start answering those questions. It's so hilarious. Like, and it was funny because you don't have to put I don't know the answer. Just say I'm weed man. I don't have a clue. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny, man. When I saw that, I was dying laughing. That was so hilarious. But yeah, you guys make sure you know jump in, join our groups. Like I say, we just hit 40,000 on
Yep.
electrical code discussion for awesome electricians. Thanks so much for your help with all the different groups and you know like bringing material and bringing content and stuff. It's so much fun. And like I say, it's pretty crazy when I could just take a picture at work, and then I think my last one got like 300 some comments on there, you know, and it was just fun. We had just like really good conversation. People like, oh, that makes the wire nut wire waterproof. It's like, no, like there's literally no such thing as waterproof when it comes to electrical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we've already busted this myth a bunch of times when it comes to outdoor enclosures and stuff like that. And all these people, oh man, I put these connectors in, I put these fittings in, so it's waterproof now. It's like, no, it's not. Like,
No.
water's still gonna get in there, you know. And that's what's so crazy when you look at like, let's just say UL 67 when it comes to outdoor panel boards, how they're able to like install breakers in there when that's installed in a wet location, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because inside there is considered a wet location, but it says only install those breakers in a dry location.
Yeah.
So you have like these little anomalies. We've kind of busted this on some of our myths and stuff, and it's a lot of fun stuff that's going to be coming up for 2026. Hopefully get clarified and probably get some stuff changed for the 2029 when they go to like 47,000 chapters or whatever.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
you know, we'll make our own chapter in there of stupid stuff that we think should be in its own chapter, I guess.
Well, let's throw a quick video up here.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
40,000 going up. We want to get that group to 10 million.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's so cool. And like we're getting real close to passing the original electrical code discussion, a group that I was kicked out of. James left on his own accord, but you know, it was just we couldn't believe how ridiculous they were being as far as like if you don't agree with them, then you know, you're not allowed to be in their group. And you know, to me, I didn't want to be in there. There was a lot of different stuff that was going on at that point in time with other Facebook groups and stuff. But you know, I thought it was funny because me and you just met, and I was like, yeah, let's do a podcast. You're like, all right, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, they kicked you out of that group, and I was like, yeah. And you're like, why? I was like, I don't know. I think they're mad or something. And then you started asking them, and then next thing you know, like you basically left on your own accord, but
Mm-hmm.
they were like taking down your things that you were pushing up there. You know, like your posts that you had, they were taking them down. They were like deleting your comments and stuff.
Yeah, they
deleting
call
their
you all
comments.
kinds of names and everything. And then there was Chris Myers that was there, and I said, hey, I said, are you going to let them actually say this kind of stuff to people? And he deleted me. He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, you deleted I said, hell with this group. I said, y'all are a bunch of pansies, boy. I said, I'm not wasting my time with you idiots. So I just
Yeah.
looked at it.
And so then we decided to kind of start creating our own groups. And what's funny is I went and I looked up what's the best code discussion groups on social media, and it comes up your other group, the group that you made, the Codes and Standards group.
Well,
So
you know why they say that stuff is they look at the activity that's on it. Nobody's going over to ECD anymore, any activity. They're coming over to our groups because we actually provide stuff.
yeah,
And it's come over, and I can just, for a lot of people, come back and watch this because I know it's Sunday night, everybody's watching football, all that.
yeah,
But there's been a lot of people that have purchased a whole bunch of stuff on the learning management system, particularly the new code changes. And like I just had one today, and it just pops up on my phone, and it's starting to become a popular format. And that's
So
why we're going to be here tonight showing you the code changes. And also, we'll show you the new 70E that's going to be loaded up pretty soon.
so why don't you go ahead and drop like all those in the chat so people can find them.
Yeah,
Um,
that is a good idea. Let me, because I need to drop 3 links here that everybody can go to.
and you could even drop like your merch too, because I need to go get me a new tumbler, high voltage live.
Yeah, I need to do that. Okay. Let me put here, let me get my glasses on. Type's so small, I can't see as good as I used to, especially as I'm getting older. Hell,
Okay.
a lot of people don't know this, but Tuesday I will hit 62.
No.
Yeah, Tuesday I'll be
Wow.
62. I'll be
Wow.
getting up there, and before you know it, I'll be getting close to. But Tuesday we're going to play golf at one of the new courses they just redid and opened, so we're going to hang out there. And
Okay.
I'm going to put a link here to the uh, if you want a hard copy, you'll
Okay.
see they're on pre-order right now. They're at the press. It won't be long before they're available. So hard.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of people have been asking me, and I've been taking those hard copies, and it's kind of nice because I can go through them and figure out like what I want to try to stump you on, like your own questions.
Let me take this in here. I want to redo this interactive digital digital.
But yeah, if you guys get that hard copy, what you do is you go make a question. They like stump King James on it, and then you stump him on his own question. But I don't think that 2026 has the same questions like the last one did.
Uh, I get stumped every now and then, especially you ask me something that ain't in the freaking code. And you're not getting a win on that. You can kiss my rear end. That's not a miss. I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
I
like I
got
said,
that set. All right. So with that, let me go ahead and share the screen there and take everybody over and show
okay,
them what everything looks like.
all right, sounds good.
That's what we're doing the podcast for this evening. So I think everybody be very happy to see what we have in store for you tonight.
Yes, sir.
Let me go to full screen here. Okay. Now, this is just when you go straight to the page. And I will tell you, we got a website that we're going to put together. It's going to be very basic. That'll link over to this. But we mainly use this as our main website. So when you come in here and you start looking at everything, there's a lot of stuff here. We're telling you things that are coming up. We got subscription services. I mean, we got all kinds of stuff here. So, and as you can tell, we have spent a lot of time building all of this out. Okay. Now, one of the cool things that I'm going to have there, these are not here yet. This is once I start getting the courses together. And as I do these courses, you're going to start seeing this type of information that's going to be popping up, and you'll be able to get the publication and the online course and everything all together. And we'll set these up in bronze, silver, and golden packages. So it'll basically be monthly. But if, say, you just want something for, say, bronze, and these are just our other than NEC standards. So if it's not National Electrical Code, you may want to have just stuff to lightning protection, 70E, 70B. That'll be like a bronze package. The silver package will be all the NEC stuff, and the golden comes with everything.
Yeah, and that was all my idea too. So just don't let him forget about that.
I need help all the time. I'm still learning after all these years. Okay. Now, one of the things I'm going to do here, we're going to go over and we're going to, right on the front page, I've got a setup here that you can go over and get the Illustrate. I still got it at a 50% discount. As an early bird, this is fully interactive. So you'll see it here. We tell you all about it. We even let you know we were the first ever to even write illustrated code change book. So
Sure.
it tells you everything, gives you like a little synopsis here of everything, just a quick thing about it.
And
Then when you go,
from what I'm knowing, from what you're telling me too, like you guys were the only um, authors that were published by NFPA too.
that's correct. Yes, we have been the only ones. And the only reason they quit doing that was because of conflict, and you had a lot of education people out there that were all pissed off. And in other words, they just didn't want the scuttle coming back on. They got tired of listening to it. But
Right.
even NFPA knew we have the best publications. That's why
Yeah.
they worked with us. And
Yes, sir.
this will take you to the main page. You'll see it's under the publication series, blah, blah, blah. But we give you just a quick page to sort of show you what it looks like. I'm going to get into all that in a minute. Got a little quick write up here for it. And then when you come down, we tell you a little bit about everything. So it's just a quick little refreshment page. So I'm going to go over here to the digital PDF, and this is going to take you here, tell you what it's for, blah, blah, blah. It just sort of gets you through everything. Okay. So now you know what it is. Now, I've already purchased this, so I can't go to a purchase page, but I'm going to go over here to my profile. And when I go to my profile, and the profiles are pretty good because you earn badges and all that stuff based on what you do. It keeps up with your posts, your achievements, how many courses you have, how many hours you spent. Well, you can see I spent 460 hours, but mainly that 460 hours has been spent getting the program up to snuff, basically. So that gives you an idea how much time I spend dealing with this.
So would those hours like mean anything to like an agency, or would you have to get that approved to like the state of
No, I
Colorado?
would get that gets approved through the state, and it's all self-contained within the course.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
And
they can verify like I did my 24 hours through that.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Gotcha.
then you'll come down and you got all your courses here, whatever you're wanting to look at. But we're going to go here to the illustrated code changes. So this is going to take me right over to the page. And then you'll see right here, I can just go straight into the publication. I can come down here, the changes, the chapters. I've got them all individual chapters. If there's a certain chapter you're wanting to go through, and say you want to look in something in chapter 2, say it's grounding, it's an Article 250, you can just go straight to chapter 2. But I'll just start off, I'll just go here to part 1. We had to put it in 2 parts because the PDF is so big, because we did cover 281 changes this cycle.
Wow.
Now, when it pulls up here, right here, you've got thing. I'm just going to go ahead. You got your zooms here you can do. I'm just going to fit it in the page. Now,
Okay.
as you're going through this, you can just scroll like this, or you can just go next page. It'll just go right through them however you want to do it. Okay. So, but I'm going to scroll. All right. Now, one other thing I like is right here on the left, right here, that's in this frame. Right here, I can click this, and this will bring up the pages here.
Right.
You can go in, look at your pages. So say I just wanted to skip to this one, I can go here and it'll take me straight to the chapters I want to go to.
So this is a good chance for me to kind of ask you some questions. Just like in say for example chapter 1. there was like a few changes that came in, and I believe that they correlate with 70E. In regards, I want to say it was like 110.16,
Yeah,
110.15.
I'll take you through
Um,
those. And I think
okay,
everybody will like this. Now,
okay,
like right here, this is just the third page. I just clicked and I want to go. This is why this publication is really awesome. Because
okay,
and all of our publications are this way. I can
okay.
come in here and say I want to go to chapter 1. All I have to do is come right here at chapter 1, click it. What's going on there? Some
Because
reason,
aren't you already in there, chapter one?
no.
Oh, okay.
For some
Because
reason,
I didn't know where you were at.
I'm not getting it's not giving me an arrow. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me go over here and see what's going on. Okay, that shouldn't have happened that way, but I'm going to look at it. Let's see here. For some reason, it's stuck.
Huh.
Yeah, because I've come through this before and we went right through it. I wonder why.
Yeah, and I remember like yours is probably one of the easiest to navigate of all the ones out
Yeah, I don't
there.
know why it's doing that. I'll have to check that out and see what's going on. But anyway, as you're coming down through here, you can go through and just scroll through here if you want, but I'm just going to go over here side. And this is what Bill was asking, and y'all will see the difference in the type of information that is contained within these programs that we've been doing. So let's just say, let's look. That's not the one I want. So here's 110.16. All right.
Gotcha.
Now, when you look at this, you're going to see right up here at the very top, and this is one of the things we do a lot of. We have other standards to review, things that you might want to go look at for additional information to get what you need. And then if you look down below here, we also have notes in here. Now, here's a good example like note 2. It says, review carefully. We tell you go look at 110.16b, 21b, 24, 25. And then we tell you, you also need to look, because this is where you're dealing with signs. So you'd want to look at your ANSI Z535 standard 0.4. And then we also tell you, go over and look at NFPA 70E 130.5H and exception. Now, Jeremy is a good example of this. Tell you, oh, the code's what you go to. You don't go to these other standards. Well, this is a very, very good reason, because when you go look at 130.5H and exception, there's information on there. And a lot of people, I tell them, where do you think this information come for these markings that are listed in 110.16, the information they want you to have there? Well, it
Yeah.
came from NFPA 70E.
Yeah, because they want to make sure you know how to dress in that situation for that available fault current.
Sure. And then another thing, we put another right above the note there. We tell you when you're looking for the maintenance procedure, that also talks about the signs and everything that are, or the warnings that are there. You need to look at this where you're another standards. You want to look at NFPA 70B and look at chapter 7, 9, and 14.
Nice.
Now, I will tell you, go look at any other publications out there. I don't care, pick any of them. And I'll promise you, you're not going to see this information there.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, kind of what I wanted to touch on with sending you there is how all these standards are kind of married up. They're all kind of like a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
They all relate to each other, and that's kind of how I got you on the man versus machine last week, because I used one from NFPA 72. And
Mm-hmm.
you didn't know that one, but at the same time, it goes hand in hand with the NFPA 70.
Sure.
So, you
But
know.
this will be another good one for people to look at. So say you're looking at 110.40 and they get into the electrical connections. This is where you get in for equipment that's rated over 1,000 volts or 1,500 volts DC. you come in and look at this. We come in and we set up things that you need to look at. But what we also did is where you're dealing like with this high voltage where you're in transformer, these are the type of connectors you would see in these type of transformers. We literally drew all of those. Okay.
Right.
They're not pictures or anything. They'll take one picture of maybe something in there. You'll see it. But there are different types that you would look at. These are your three main types. Okay. So we go through and we spent a lot of time looking at this. And here's another good one here where you get in and you start looking at 120.5E. We've had a big argument about this. And you'll notice this is something that we did because I think this change is stupid, but regardless, I know why they did it. And what it comes down to is where you're looking at doing the calculation that you don't have to apply the 125%. Well, where is that at? That's in a unit load. And you've got a unit load that's already put together, and that's where it's already developed in the table for like your lighting load. Okay. Right. And you'll notice we have all these sections down here in the illustration that we're telling you to go look at. Okay. Right. So as you go through this, you'll see that we spend a lot of time showing you what you would actually, I mean, look at this illustration. I'll tell everybody, go look at this and compare it to another publication and see if they show it like this. So we took and we did one here, and we're showing you all the connections inside the panel, what you would see out in the field.
Sure. Yeah, and I do kind of want to take that a little bit of a step further when it comes to that, because, you know, like when you really get down to it, where is your instant energy? Is your instant energy based on 125%, or is your instant energy based on a full load current? And that's what's really funny about it, because your 125% is for continuous duty, and a lot of that stuff's already baked in with everything.
Sure.
And a lot of these guys are sitting there saying you have to use the code to get that, and you don't.
That's correct.
It's not. It's already baked in with most of your stuff. So all you have to do is just drop down to your next standard size. You're good to go. Like what you were explaining last week was really awesome. It was really cool because you made it understand like that conductor is good for the continuous load, and then your overcurrent device just has to be to that closest standard size, over 800 amps.
Sure. And I'll tell you something that we're going to be adding here, and people need to really, really look at this. This is 120.57. It used to be in Article 220. But this is where you added 7,200 watts where you had EVSE load. Now, when we did this before, in the calculations, it was figured in as part of the fixed appliance load. Now it's a separate calculated load. Well, what we did, we added this in for an individual dwelling unit, and then we added I think we added 8 of them or 10, something like that. We added 10 of these where you had multifamily. So like you were an apartment, and they had 10 units out there where you could charge. We add that into the calculation, and then we did it for commercial too and industrial. So we added this specific calculation in there, but we did one of them that was in the commercial where we modified the load higher than 7,200 watts. And this is where it's in the text, and it says unless modified by 625.42. Right. Okay, so we did a different size there to make you think when you're getting this. And where we did that was when you're doing the master's exam. And gotcha. I will tell you, go look and see if these other publications are showing you this stuff.
True.
That all of this is very, very important. And you'll see we took a lot of time going through and doing all the illustrations where they look properly. And then we even did stuff where you get into, I'm going to go down here. I want to show everybody something here. This is something that everybody's going to have to pay real close attention to. And it's going to start about right in here somewhere. Yeah, about right here. Okay. Now,
Oh, is that high voltage?
yes, this
Okay.
is where you're going to start in Article 267. Everybody needs to pay real close attention when you start getting to this, because they're going to start off where you're getting. Well, wait, man, I might have one more up there. Let's see.
I think that
Yeah,
changes
that's where I
like
want.
so that I think that changes like so stupid. Like
Well,
I don't even see what was wrong with the way it was before.
they've made quite a few changes here, and where it's going to start is Article 265.
Gotcha.
You're going to have your branch circuits over 1,000 volts, and you'll see we did all the different parts to give you something to follow through here. And then you're going to jump to Article 266. This is going to cover your feeders. Okay. And you'll
Yeah,
see we've done a lot of cool illustrations for these.
I'm really on the fence with that whole thing. Like it's so rare that you have like medium voltage branch circuits.
I know.
Like
And the thing is, we've already got illustrations that we've done for all of this. And
nice.
that's another thing I will point. And as a matter of fact, I'll even pull it up here so everybody can see. I'll show you some of the illustrations that are taking effect right now just for the services for the design book.
Okay.
But one of the things that we're doing also is we're going to take the design book, and you're going to have still two parts, maybe three, because of the way everything's being redone. But you'll have less than 1,000 volts, and then we're going to have another design series that'll be over 1,000 volts, and
That's
then we'll have another book that deals with limited energy systems.
that's really cool. I like that because that's technically how the code book's split up. But I could tell that your dad was a little bit hot over the whole communications on chapter 8.
Yeah,
Where...
they made a lot of crazy changes, in my opinion. But we're having to go through, and you got to, and I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying here. This, if I'm telling you some things, but this is very important to pay attention to what I'm about to say. Dad and I are seasoned code people, and we're having trouble finding where everything went. We're having, we got ideas where it is, and we're actually having to search for some things that we've referenced before, because we do a lot of references throughout the publication, and we've had to look it up and go find it, because it's chapter 7 and 8 is a cluster. Let me tell you, I'm telling y'all right now, and then all your high voltage stuff, there's a lot of that stuff that's been moved around we've had to go find. So I think it's going to be important for people to pay real close attention and follow a publication that's keeping up with everything that's taking place. I doubt you're going to see Holt or Ryan or any of them go through and do what we just did.
Yeah, so like if you just look at like say for example this illustration they have here, it has like all the different code loops of all the different areas that pertain to that installation, and
Sure.
it makes it really easy and stuff. But what I want to kind of I guess make a little bit of a joke on is that your code loops have been thrown for a loop in 2026.
Oh, you bet your ass they have. And, it's just something simple as this. You've got disconnecting means that are grouped here for these outside branch circuits and feeders.
Mm-hmm.
We got 4 sections that you need to go look at there.
Right.
And I'll tell you, go look at the other publications, see if they show you any of this stuff. This
Right.
this is where you get in and you really start seeing the difference in the type of detail that you're going to get into when you're dealing with these publications. And then it drops to Article 268 that deals with services. You're going to see we cover all the different parts, go through the explanations, everything. We show you where you got the utility coming in, and We talk about looking at the conductors and realizing that these are in free air. I mean, it's little things like that electricians that don't deal with the high voltage side, you start getting uh, uh, reminders that you don't treat it the same as you do everything else.
True, and I think that was kind of my complaint with them changing like all that, like cloning a section and just put it in there, because a lot of the high voltage stuff doesn't pertain to like the under 1,000. So like going through, like I've been doing this 30 years, you could pretty much take all those rules and just apply them all to under 1,000. And like if you're over 1,000, then you might have a little bit of exception to it, but not really. I mean, you're still going to be doing everything the same. Most likely, you're not going to be having like 4160 volts inside a stud wall.
No,
You're
you're
not
not.
going to be you're not going to be having a 4160 branch circuit. It's just not something you do a lot, you know. And like after 30 years, I've seen a lot of stuff. I'm rare. I don't think I couldn't honestly tell you if I've ever seen a 4160 branch circuit.
Yeah.
You know, it's always an individual branch circuit. If it is, it's an individual branch circuit that goes to an individual motor, and then it's all dedicated. I mean, we have like dedicated raceways for all that. Like, I mean, even if it goes through a wall, like they'll go and take a plasma cutter and cut a hole out and put a specific wireway in there, and it'll just be just for that medium voltage or whatever it is.
Sure.
You know, there is no way that we're even coming close to the same thing as the under 1,000 volt rules when it comes to that, and it's all engineer supervision too. So,
And I'll say another thing, when you start looking at a lot of this high voltage stuff, it just looks like they copied stuff out for 1,000 volts or less.
mm-hmm.
You're going to see that. And here's a good one where you get into grounding and bonding. Of course, the first one we're going to show is a substation that you get into that's there. And then you start getting into some of this other grounding and bonding, and you'll start to see, we show you all kinds of stuff here. Things you got.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the other things we put in here, and we thought it was important, especially when you get in, you're looking at part 2, and they start getting in and talking about the grounding impedance. You'll see that we drew that in around by the transformer, things that you need to look at. And the way we drew actually a grounding impedance device, how they're those new ones where they're actually the digital type.
Yeah.
So, you know, we upgraded everything to the very, very top of illustration wise. So
Nice.
It gives everybody a good look at what you're going to get here. And then right over here is you can go also to individual chapters. So let's just say I was wanting to look in something for you you hazardous location guys. You just go in here to chapter 5, and
Did
it's going to
did you just say I was high?
high.
No, the one thing I wanted to say about, I know you mentioned that you were going to have like 3 different books covering this with like limited energy, over 1,000 volts, under 1,000 volts. The reason I think that is so significant is that you guys know, and I love whenever I'm picking your dad's brain or whatever on this stuff, it's really nice because I know that you guys understand that, hey, this part of under 1,000 volts is important. This part of over 1,000 volts, even though they say in the code it applies to this, you're just not going to include that in your publication. You know,
Sure.
And that's what's so cool about it, because every time I go through your guys' publication, I realize that you guys understand this, and that's the whole method of the madness when you're putting it together, you know? You're like, hey, you could see this out in the field. You're not going to see this. So the
That's
ones
right.
that you don't see, you just don't put in your publication. I really like that because it fine-tunes for guys that want to learn exactly what they need to know. You only have in there exactly what you need to know, and you get a lot of criticism from these other guys saying, oh, he doesn't have this in there. It's like, well, yeah, because you're never going to see that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know, that's because we've been out in the field and we've done it.
100%.
You know, so
100%.
but when you get in this, you go to chapter 5, you'll see we come in, we give you all this information here. And I mean, we go in depth on stuff. I mean, we even draw say like the gas pumps here. We show you what a gas pump looks like and everything. But what this is mostly important is where you're getting in and you're dealing with bonding in these areas and changes that they made here to 500.30A. And these are your different types of specific bonding means that are permitted. So we go in and talk about self-bonding bushings where you got self-bonding lock nuts, or it's a standard bushing. And where you got a standard bushing, you got to connect it over, of course, into the terminal.
Yeah, and what I ran into this is there could be conflicts in there with the materials that were compliant under certain code and the new code or whatever they're trying to do now or what they're trying to accomplish. And a lot of the times the AHJs don't understand this. And so that's what I really like about your explanations in there about how you explain it. And then you just have to be like really good at just sitting down with the AHJ and just going, all right, this is what they did. It's still the same thing. It's still bonded. It's just bonded a different way or whatnot, you know?
Sure.
So it's just something you have to kind of pay attention to.
Yeah, and just getting into some of the other basic things, a lot of people don't think about this because you see it here. You won't see it anywhere else. But, you know, we literally take the time to come in and show you what a explosion-proof type fixture looks like. And then we also draw over here where it come over and we show you what the explosion-proof switch looks like for those lighting fixtures. I mean, it's just taking and putting the little bit of detail in it that people have never experienced working with this type of equipment. It gives them a way to look at this so they know what they're going to see out in the field. These are the type of bondings and fittings and the type of equipment that you're going to see out in the field that is used to make sure that you have an area where it's explosion proof and you're protecting everything.
Yeah, so one of the things I did want to mention too about that is a lot of times when I'm out there in these gas and oil projects or whatever's like in this explosion proof location, the AHJ is like, you can't do that. And I'm like, okay. And it could be me thinking, oh man, I don't think I could do that. Or it could be the AHJ saying, no, you can't do that or whatever. But you have me and him looking at these tile illustrations, just looking at them. And all of a sudden we both look at it and we're like, we're both dummies. You can do that all day. You know? But it's really cool because you get that real clear picture of like when you're changing locations, where those seals are required, like all those different nuances that are just really important that I noticed personally. It helped me a lot because when I was out there, I was basically thrown to the wolves, and I was at the mercy of the inspector, and then all of a sudden the inspector's like, nope, we're not passing your inspection until you do X, Y, Z, you know? And then I was like, well, can I see the prints?
Yep.
And then next thing you know, he's like, all right, and then starts looking at the prints, and he's trying to say it was a class 1 div 1 location, you know? And he's trying to say that outside of this tank area was a class 1 div 2 area. Then he was saying once you get inside the tank area, it was class 1 div 1. And I was like, okay. I was like, we have a lot of stuff wrong then, if that's the case. I was like, can we just look at the prints? Can we just go through this and figure out what our locations are so I figure out what I need to do? And come to find out, he was wrong. The area outside the tank area was unclassified. Inside the tank area was class 1 div 2. And then if you dug a trench, everything in the trench would need to be class 1 div 1. And then I think it was like within 5 foot of the tank opening needed to be class 1 div 1. Everything else was just normal, like what we do in commercial. Sure. You know? And so it was like just understanding that really meant a lot when it comes to not just teaching my apprentices and not just you as like an educator, you know, bringing this content to the masses, but helping everyone, regardless of their knowledge, just understand it, and everyone just be on the same page and just go, hey, this is right, this is wrong, and this is right, this is wrong, you know?
Sure. And that's why we spend a lot of time going through this and showing people, you know, I mean, just something simple as this. You won't see them draw this, but we draw like an open mixing tank or vat that you would have here, and where you got traveling arms that are moving through there on a conveyor system, dipping things in and out, and how you go about looking at classifying that location. And then some will come in and say, you're going to deal here. We did one where we're dealing with the healthcare, and
Right.
you'll notice they come in talking about the additional sources and the capacity of the systems and everything. We show you like a one-line diagram, all that set up, and even putting the transfer switch in that's coming from the generator. Okay.
Right.
And then after that, we go in and we show you some in the healthcare where you're setting up and you have these patient care space risk categories. We come in and give you a full setup on that. And then we do it also right here where you're getting into the wiring methods for it.
Right.
So, you know, that's why I tell people, just go in and look at everything, and you can totally see what the total difference is and why it's very important to have illustrations instead of pictures. This is a great example of this. And
Yeah.
when I put it in course material, it's even going to be better, because say you're looking at this illustration here. I'll have the illustration set up, and where you see those section numbers in the illustration, all you're going to do is just hover above that, click, and the section will pull up for you so you can read it and see what I'm telling you is true.
Well, and the thing is too that you're not, aside from like the whole there's times where people like misinterpret things.
Sure.
And it's really cool for you to just be able, and this is the one thing I love about doing this podcast, is kind of hanging out with you, picking your brain, picking your dad's brain, because I kind of got to the point where I see kind of where you guys are going with. It's not like you don't have to overthink the code.
That's right.
And that's technically what a lot of people do. Inspectors do it. A lot of people overthink the code. And so it's really cool when we have like these style illustrations. I can just say, hey, this is what I'm going off of. And I show them a picture and they're just like, oh, wow. Okay. That's way easier than I was thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Sure.
know, and so it's really cool, like the way you guys have all those code loops. It's like, if you have a code section that you disagree with, like that was crazy on Thursday, how Weedman just kept telling you like, go to 215.3, or I can't remember exactly, but it's like we'd go to 215.3 and it'd tell you to go to 240 and it'd say use the standard size. It did, nothing was different. Like it's like, I don't see where you're getting this from, you know, like there's no specific language that's saying we're wrong, you know, we're reading the exact thing, it's telling you the exact section, and that's the whole point of the code loops.
Sure it
Is to have all those different code loops. So it's like, you know, they're acting like there's some magical carpet on, 215.3 or something, when 215.3 just refers you back to overcurrent protection at 240.3. And you've always said that, or it was 240.4, I think. But you've always said that.
240.4C.
Yeah, and you've always said that. You're like, you could either protect the conductor or you could protect the load.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to sit there and say you need a 1,000 amp overcurrent device, I don't get where they get that from.
It's because they just they got proven wrong, and they'll just argue with you. They're blue in the face to make themselves feel like they're right. And, you know, that's what gets me. Like I told them, I said, you know, Jeremy, I said, NFPA used to publish these publications for like 10 years. And I said, that exact calculation's been in there, and they reviewed and edited our books before they would go out. They wanted to go through them, and not one person at NFPA on the engineering staff changed it. But all of a sudden, you're smarter than NFPA and the rest of us.
Yeah.
Or should I say, you and the boys over at ECD think y'all are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what makes them mad, is because we come in and tell them that. I'm going to switch gears here, and I'm going to go over to the 70E real quick.
Okay.
And
dude,
everybody,
this is pretty much your show at this point. I did want to bring up some points here and there, but dude, this is like really awesome. Like ever since we've been doing this, I think it's been 4 or 5 years. It's been a while. I just enjoy it every single time. Like every time you're like, hey, I want to do a podcast, I want to cover this. I'm like, let's do it. I love it. It's so much. I always learn. I always get better. I always improve as an electrician, and it makes me a better electrician.
we hadn't really done one in quite a while. The reason
Yeah.
is because we've been busy, writing the new code change book, and plus after I did that, I finished what I had remaining on the 70E, and this one, we were the first to put a book out on this. Okay.
Nice.
And when it first come out, it was mainly lined up with OSHA 1910 through 302 through 308. And then we eventually added in 331 through 335 of OSHA. And that's all subpart S. And then that was due to the changes we were making in the 70 document time. And I've pretty much been on the committee since it started. Okay.
Right.
So I've heard all the arguments. And these are to show y'all some of the illustrations that have been upgraded that are going to be in there. I'm just sort of clicking through a few of them here so you can look and see what they look like. But as a good example, we show you the locks and stuff like that. We show you the hasp that you can use. We show you like you're using a cable or chain, the type of device that they put up around the valve here and then wrap it down around the pipe so you can't turn it. So we literally take the time to show you all these different types of devices that you could go in and use. Now, what a lot of people like to see, and here's another good one, we actually drew every one of these testers by hand. These are not pictures, and you can go look, they look just like the ones you'd see out there in the field. Has all the markings and stuff. This is especially awesome for instructors.
Yeah, my testers are way better than those ones. You drew the wrong ones.
No, those are good ones, baby.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But one of the things that's really cool is one of the most important things that I always say about electrical safety is like knowing the facts ahead of time. And anytime you can go into like these situations, know what your meter's gonna read. Like I always quiz my apprentices all the time. Like if your meter reads this, what does it mean? And then they're like, I don't know. And it means you don't have power. Oh, that's dumb. You know what I mean? Whatever. But the whole thing is like, well, if your meter reads 0, what does that mean? Oh, I don't know. Well, it means you don't have power. You know what I mean? Like it means there's nothing there. So that's what's important about some of this stuff, because when you get into a 70E, you have to verify electrically safe work condition. So me being a journeyman, it's my job to verify that my apprentices and even myself is working in electrically safe work condition. And that's our job as electricians, to verify we're always working in electrically safe work condition. Now, is it okay to go work on something hot if you know what you're doing or whatever? Like, I mean, that's your own risk, But at the same time, you make it really clear with this publication that it's a likelihood of injury. It's a increased likelihood of injury that could occur. And to me, I thought that was always a big deal, because you have to know that. You have to assess that risk as an electrician and go, hey, is there a likelihood of injury? Well, cool. I'll be the one that puts myself in harm's way. Is that cool? No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody should put themselves in harm's way. But you have to realize that you're assessing that risk and there's an increased likelihood of injury in that case.
Sure, and I like to point out, just like this in here, just look at all the section call outs here. If I look here where I'm looking at this VAT that's running down through here, and I look at the qualified worker, look at all the different sections we tell you to go look at.
Yeah.
That is what I'm talking about when you get into this stuff and you're not familiar with what I need to go look at, what other sections in the code affect this. There's a lot of information here. What I'm going to do is I want to show y'all some of this where you get in to like Article 130. Matter of fact, I'll show you a few extra little cool illustrations here.
Yeah, so a lot of times, like, and I'm not trying to like bust on your illustration or anything, James, but like a lot of times you have to understand, like, just because the illustration shows like one person doesn't mean you can just have one person. Like a lot of times they'll say you have to have like your restricted entry person, your rescue person, all this stuff. So that's what's so cool when you get into like these illustrations. There's so many layers to it to consider that typically you could just take it as a thing. It's never gonna be a one man show. You're always gonna have two people. You're
Sure.
gonna have a qualified person. You're gonna have a rescue person. You're gonna have a first aid person. You're gonna have a supervisor. You're gonna have all these different people present in this situation. So even though the illustration shows one person, you have to think of it as a full picture. And I think that's what's cool about seeing all those different loops that you have in there to
Sure.
kind of
Like
reference.
like a good example of this. You can look at either one of those illustrations, but you'll see sometimes we'll put standards to review. And what the reason I will point this out, because remember I made the statement earlier, I was talking about OSHA was used in conjunction with the National Electrical Code when it started.
Mm-hmm.
And where you're getting into like the disconnecting means, OSHA doesn't tell you everything. You may need to go look at these NEC sections to get the additional information.
Sure.
You see that? All
Yeah.
of that information is put in there to help you when you're applying the 70 requirements. And then when you get over here and you start looking at Article 130, and I'll tell you that is where most people are going to spend most of their time is Article 130.
Yeah.
Article 130 is where you start getting into these limited and restricted boundaries. We go in and we start explaining this stuff to you. We get in, we even drew the table ourselves to the distances here that you'll be looking at. And then once you get into this, you'll start seeing some really detailed illustrations that are going to happen at this point. But this is where you're getting in and you're dealing with your boundaries here, and we set something up here and we talk about the type of clothing that you would wear in this case. Okay. And this is where you're applying table 130.7C15A. And then you
Right.
come in and we show you how to go in and actually select that equipment. Now, this is where it gets interesting. And I want you to pay real close attention to what I'm going to tell everybody. There was calculations that were put in, and you're going to see we're going to make reference here to the 2009 edition of NFPA 70E. Okay?
Okay.
And this is how you went in and you looked at performing the calculation. And this is where we were determining what the arc flash protection boundary is. Okay? And
Right.
this was voltage levels between 50 volts and 600 volts. But now, once I get up above 600 volts, this is the type of calculation that you're going to use.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, a lot of times people think, oh, yeah, PPE for like protecting yourself from all this different stuff, and if you want to look at it like that, this clothing will protect you for survivable burns. So it will basically make the burns to where you only have second degree burns. And I know you talked to me about this before, that's pretty unsettling when you're on a 70E committee and you're trying to determine what will make it only a second degree burn, because a second degree burn is pretty bad.
Yeah, it still hurts.
you know.
You know, and
So
I've told this to many people who watch the podcast. I say I'd put a few extra cal in on there. I don't even want a second degree burn.
yeah,
You know, and a lot of people don't know that that's how it's designed. And
Yeah.
when you go in and you tell them everything, they're like, well, I didn't know that. I thought you didn't get a burn at all. Like,
Yeah, or
no.
or you think it's a spacesuit that you could just survive, but I mean, we're watching all this stuff out in space right now, and like that, there was it was like a I-3 Atlas comet that's out there right now, and it took like 5 hits from solar um, blasts from like close as Mercury, you know,
Hmm.
or close as Mars or whatever it was. I don't know exactly. It's probably the same distance as Earth, but the whole thing is like they're like, how this thing even survive that?
Sure.
You know, and so you know that's the kind of thing what we're trying to learn when you come into like the mysteries of the universe. Like we don't want a mystery of the universe when we're working on this stuff. When we're working on this equipment, like even though we have that moon suit on, like we're not gonna make a mistake. You know, we always try to like cross-reference things to make sure we're not making any mistakes. We're just doing the right thing every time. And one of the things that was cool, and I know I'm probably going off on a tangent on this, but is it a code violation to work on stuff energized without personal protection? And the answer is yes, because the first thing the manufacturer tells you to do is disconnect power.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's times where you can't disconnect power. That's where we're going to go in this justified energized work. You know, so you have those two different situations, and that's really all we really need to worry about coming into electrical. You know.
Sure. And even for where you get in, because you could have customer owned, we get into a lot of things like this where you're setting up your barricades, the different type of barricades, and then something you brought up earlier where you have attendants.
Yeah.
And we come in and talk about the attendants. We talk about look like equipment. And then this is where we get in and we start looking where you start getting into the higher voltages.
Yeah.
And you could be maintaining that. So we go through and talk about all the vehicular and look at all the distance. These come from other standards, some things, and we put all this information in there for you because you really need to know this. This is not something that's like very simple that you're just going to pick up. You have to have a good working knowledge of what you're looking at. And then I'm going to show you one other thing, and we'll be getting pretty close to wrapping this up.
Yeah, the
But
one thing I wanted to add, just while you're into that utility thing, is that it really meant a lot having like Mike Barr on here. We need to get Mike Barr on here again.
we will.
But one thing I liked about Mike Barr, what he said that really stuck to me was arc in a box, spark in a box.
Hmm.
And that's the reason that they have those different cal ratings for like the utility, because they don't have an arc in a box. And we have an arc in a box. They don't.
Sure.
And that's where they have those different cal ratings and everything like that. So it meant a lot to just kind of see that different angle.
Sure. And this is a good example here where you go into chapter 2 of 70E, and you'll see at the bottom of this right here, we got a note that tells you when you're applying an effective maintenance program, your PM, you need to look at 70B. So when you come in here and you start looking at some of these illustrations that we've done here, I want you to look. One of the first things they talk about, especially where you're performing maintenance, they're going to refer you in 205.6 to go look where spaces about electrical equipment. And this is where you get into 110.26A and table 110.26A1. If it's high voltage, 110.34 and table 110.34A. Okay. So we spent a lot of time going into this. They tell you to look at making sure that the system's grounding and bonded. I mean, just look at all this guarding of your energized parts. This just looks like you're looking at the National Electrical Code, doesn't it?
So is that 70B that you have there?
No, no, no. This is 70E.
Okay.
That's
No, I didn't know if that was if you were doing 70B illustrations.
no.
'Cause
This
I know
is
you have
chapter
both
2.
books. Okay. I know you have both books, so.
Yeah, and you'll see there's a lot of references that are taking place here within this. Like here, where you get into your enclosure, see how we refer you over to look at the National Electrical Code here?
Yeah.
We're telling you, there's things that you need to look at. Look at the sections to review here for your different signage, and look at all the NEC sections we tell you to go look at.
True.
And this is where I get in and tell everybody, go compare with anybody else that's out there and see if you're going to get this level of where you need to go back and find this information. We even go in and we take here and show you the internal wiring here of these different types protective devices here.
I just don't want you to be like surprised when somebody does show up with something better, because I've been trying to tell you, like, I don't know how long I've been trying to tell you this, but I just want you to be prepared for when somebody does have something better. You know
When
what I
they
mean?
do, I'll give them their due. Because I can tell, and look at this is in chapter 2 also, and they get in and you deal with hazardous locations.
Right.
Well, look at this. You look at all this information. This is stuff that you see in the National Electrical Code. Look at all the references we're giving you.
Yeah.
So when you get somebody that comes on like Jeremy, Ted Fritz, all them idiots, and they tell you that the code has nothing to do with these other standards, here you go.
Yeah.
We're showing you it is very, very important to look at this, and you can see the amount of detail that we've put into this.
Pretty much everything goes hand in hand, and you know, basically what the Stallcups do is they show you the left hand, and then they show you how it matches to the right hand. You
That's
know,
right.
and the thing is that's so cool is all these guys are like, oh, you idiots think that says right hand. It's like, no, it says left hand, but it matches to the right hand if you look at all this math and stuff. So it goes into a lot of stuff. Like I always tell my apprentices, all you need to know is 2 facts.
Mm-hmm.
And you know those 2 facts, you can determine the third.
Sure.
And it's because everything in electrical acts as a triangle. And the number one thing I want to say about like electrical safety, if it feels wrong, it is wrong. Like,
Yeah.
like you have to just do it right. That's it. I mean, you only have one choice. That's it. Do it right.
That's correct.
You know.
Not disagreeing with that one freaking bit. And another thing that's good about this is we also took the time, and these actually took me a while to do, folks. This is where you get into special equipment, but you'll notice when you come in and start looking at this is where you get into electrolytic cells. Look at all the detail in these illustrations, and look at some of the sections. I mean, when you're looking in these and you're dealing with this molten metal and all this, there's a standard you need to look at. See how we tell you to go look at IEC 62619?
Yeah.
Show me another publication that's going to tell you all this stuff. And you'll look, we drew all the distances and stuff around here so you know what is considered within the cell line working zone.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I know that you guys went in depth with, and the thing that's so cool about it is just doing this podcast with you and just kind of going over some of this math with you and stuff. It's made it so much easier for me out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like people will be like, hey, you know, just do it like this, and I'm like, wait a minute, like 2 + 2 doesn't equal 17. You know what I mean? Like it's easy math. You know, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to just kind of pay attention and be like, hey, you know, if you do it like this, it's gonna be right.
Sure.
It's gonna be right every single time.
I mean, we even went into the detail setting up where you got your battery rack systems. So we go in and break all this down and get in and talk about the lighting above it and everything. I mean, there is a ton of information. Now, this is one, this took me a while to draw. But you see, we even come in and we show you the different type of warning signs that you actually should be seeing inside that battery room.
Well, yeah. One thing people want to look at is that you're going to have two energized sources, and I think
Sure.
that's what you're showing right in that picture. Is that you're going to have two energized sources, and you're going to have multiple energized sources, and so essentially you're going to have to dress the same on the the battery side of it as you would be on the service side of it. So like either way, it's the same potential. And
Sure.
a lot of people don't realize that. They think like the battery side's like a weaker potential, but you literally have series batteries that equal 480. So it's no difference. And actually, I would actually be more scared of stored energy than I would of service energy, grid energy.
Yeah, I mean, it is something like this. We did the lasers. We show you what a large laser system looks like, and this is the inner workings of a laser and what you would look at when you're dealing with a laser.
Wow.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
You ever
I
seen
don't
that
know.
in a publication?
It's coming. I can guarantee you. I just don't want. I don't want you to be down and out when it shows up. Like.
Well,
if
now they
somebody-
got something to follow.
Now they're gonna figure it out, but I just don't want you to be down in the dumps. When we come out to the talk football tomorrow. I want to make sure we have fun talking football tomorrow.
Well, one of the things that we did try to do is go through, and this is where you get into your power electronic equipment, and we go through and explain all of that. Then we get at the end and we talk about creating a clean, isolated, dedicated ground.
Nice.
We go in. I mean, it's things like this that I tell everybody, go compare and see if they show you any of that stuff.
Out
That
in
you're
gas
not
and
going to
oil-
see it.
Out in gas and oil, we call it the triad. In communications, we call it the grid ground. But it's an equipotential. Basically, it's our own equipotential playing ground. But like we deal with all that stuff.
There we go. Stop sharing. I was trying to get off of that. Now,
Yeah, well, you turned it white, and it just turned into like a box of.
there's one other thing I want to show.
I was like, I thought you were trying to show a box of soap or something.
Well, this
like.
this particular one, it's not. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick because it won't take me any time to do it. Let me export this real quick, and this will give everybody.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride.
It's rock, baby.
Yeah, dude. I thought I heard. Did you hear Russell Wilson come in here? I didn't. Dude, he just stopped by, man.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Yeah, let's ride, baby.
He walked by me. He goes, Stallcup Electrical Education, you rock.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude. Russell Wilson, like, if you want, I can ask him. I could be like, hey, man, can you do a personal message? Like, we'll see if he comes up. Like, so far, this is all I got him to
Broncos
say.
country, let's ride.
I
Broncos country.
will tell you this: when the design book is finished, it's going to take me the summer because it's about 1,300 illustrations. But
Okay.
when I get it done, I'm telling everybody this is gonna set the standard, and I'm putting a lot of extra time into the drawings of the illustrations, and we've already sort of figured out based on the way we're doing it, it's going to increase the size of the books, and we're even looking at taking, because of some of the size of the chapters and everything, it's probably going to take and increase the size dramatically, that we're going to have to take and make the book where you can buy them as individual chapters also. So that is quite a bit of add-on that we're doing to everything. But I think when everybody sees it at the end, I think everybody will be sort of impressed with it. So
Yeah,
let me go ahead. I'm going to pull it up so everybody can see it. I put it in a. TV.
Russell Wilson's really impressed, man.
Broncos country, let's ride.
He should be. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's saying let's ride.
this last thing I'm going to show.
Okay.
All right. So this is going to get into looking at the electrical codes and standards. Okay, this is our first publication that we're our first chapter of the publication to give everybody an idea of what it looks like. We've already finished chapter 1, so I'm just going to slowly go through and just let you look at the illustrations. And you're going to see we have put quite a bit of time, energy, effort into making sure all the illustrations look really good. I mean, we even take, like here, we show you explosion-proof equipment. We show you what a Type X purge and pressurized system looks like in a Type Z. So, I mean, we go to that kind of detail, show you what a welder looks like. That's really no big deal to me. Okay. Now, as you start getting into this, we start getting into tying in the other standards. So we show you subpart K of OSHA, that's basically construction. Then you get into subpart V, this is where you're getting into high voltage, and subpart R. So just to give you, then we get into a little bit of 70E. These are just quick illustrations, 70B. So we give you, you notice we give you full write-ups. We also tie in the National Electrical Safety Code and how it relates to this. And then we get into talking about dealing with third-party certification.
Nice.
Okay. And then we get into, you got to also, a lot of people will be very familiar with this, the UL White Book. And then we get into approvals and dealing with UL with listing and labeling. So a lot of people say, hey, you know so much about listing and labeling and all that. You'll notice we get into approval. Look at all the standards to review here we want you to look at.
Yeah, and so if you guys want to check out the whatever the new UL White Book is actually called Product IQ now.
Yeah, Product IQ.
So you can go in there and just type in like whatever you're working on, do Product IQ. It's a really good way. My apprentices use it a lot. A lot of times, like if they don't know what I'm talking about, they'll just go into Product IQ. They'll look it up and be like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. It'll show you pictures, show you how you install it, show you where the knockouts are, show you where you can't enter, show you things you can't drill into, all that kind of stuff. And that's just like a big help when it comes into, you know, being accelerating your career as an electrician.
Now that one you just looked at right there, electrical codes and standards, that updated version, I'm going to give that for free.
Okay.
Okay. Then you're going to get into your electrical systems, and you're going to see we go in and show you how to do all the calculations on the side.
Nice.
I'm just going to scroll and just watch. You see the calculations start getting a little bigger.
Yeah.
Now we're showing you where you're doing one, and we show you what do you do. You have an open delta system here, and one of the windings is defective. How does that get calculated? We show you how to do that. So, and you can see we took a lot of time drawing it out where it's very easy to read, follow. We come in, we show you all your different type of systems. You could have one 4160 or 13.8. Look at the calculations. You're still doing the same type of calculation. It's just a higher voltage.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we get into all this. This in here is where you're getting into your systems of less than 50 volts. So we sort of lay this out, showing you what we actually show you what a control system looks like when you're dealing with these systems of less than 50 volts. Okay. So put a lot of time into it, all different types of panels, control devices. I mean, just,
dude, I'll tell you what.
I mean, look at the detail in this, man. I'm telling you.
I just don't want you to be disappointed when somebody comes up with something better. Like that, I just don't want to see the hurt look on your face. Like when you find out this whole time, after this whole 5 years that we've been doing this, that somebody had some better illustrations this whole time. I just don't want you to find out the hard way.
You
You
just
know.
finished going through fire alarm systems. Let's say, did you see fire alarm systems that look like this drawn out?
And no.
No.
There's literally, like, I really would like to put together a fire alarm training program because there's literally nothing out there. Like
I know.
there is nothing. Like nobody has any kind of training. And a lot of the guys that are out there that are nice at 3 and trained and know how to do fire alarm, they just went the hard way. They just went out there and just crash coursed it. Just went out there, crashed and burned out in the site.
Well,
And
see, and this is a good example. This is where I show two different types of control units you could see. But we literally drew out where you go out and you're in the hazardous location field and show you what a transmitter device looks like and what a sensor device looks like. That's exactly how they look if you go out there and see them on the conduit systems.
yeah, and then one thing, just so you guys know, there's ones that are intrinsically safe and there are ones that aren't.
That's right.
And the ones that are intrinsically safe, you don't need a seal. The ones that aren't intrinsically safe, you do need a seal.
Sure. And we actually go through and we got that in the notes and stuff for you to look at.
True.
Tell you these are things you got to consider. We show you your different type of wiring methods here. This is where you get into the identification, where you're installing these intrinsically safe conductors here, where you have a cable tray here. We tell you at the intervals which you're going to label those intrinsically safe circuits. So, and that's why I tell people, just come in and look at this and go look at the other publications and see if they're going to, like, this doesn't look like much, but that right there in the middle, that's exactly what an intrinsically safe device looks like.
True. I just don't want you to be like sad and like hurt when all of a sudden somebody finds something that's better that you haven't known about for maybe like, all these years. And then all of a sudden they come up with a better publication. I just don't want you to be disappointed. That's my biggest concern.
I say, bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Because the other thing I worry about is you haven't been paraphrasing Link either. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you're just being a little reckless on. So
I think NFPA, if they're watching this podcast, they see this new update, they're probably wishing they still were publishing these.
Yeah.
Because
they probably will be in the future.
See, here's a good example. Look, here's your lighting system here, 30 volts or less. I just set up like you had a patio here and drew it out and everything with like a pergola over it. And then I show you 10 foot, and then I show you right here, I drew a hot tub over here on the side. And then you come down below that, then I talk about the secondary circuits, and I'm showing you here what an isolated power supply looks like feeding those 30 volt or less circuits.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the level of detail that's in. Now that's chapter 2 that I just finished. Okay.
Wow.
And we're done with the first 2 chapters, and now I'm working on services.
Okay.
So give somebody an idea of what you're having access to in this coming year. And
I just don't want. I want to let you down like gently. Like I just don't want you to just get slammed down to earth and just realize that all these publications have been out there this whole time. Like, dude, the Stallcups have been out there for all these years, and there's already been better publications you just didn't know about. And I just want to let you down easy.
I know for a fact you wasn't expecting to see that new detail, those illustrations that we just did.
No, not at all. But I still worry. Like I wake up and I'm just like, oh man, I wonder if King James is worried about other better publications coming out. But
you know why I'm not, and I know this for a fact because I've been in this business for 40 years, is you take most of the people out there, competition, we'll say, that write publication stuff, they'll write the text and then they'll do like a little rough draft, or they'll send them a pictures, basically what they do. I've seen this before. And I'll give the reason I know this, because when we wrote the electric signs and outline lighting book, there was a guy that did it with us, okay? Robert Ford. He would send me pictures. He didn't have illustration of it because he taught, most of them they all teach with pictures and then talk about it. He sent me these pictures and I had to have him come in and go over what this was. And I said, I need a picture of that. I need a picture of this so I can call this out and draw it out so people know what it looks like. And he goes, well, I never thought of that. I said, yeah, that's how a very detailed publication works. So most of the competition, this is the way they work. They have an illustrator. They have someone that lays out the publication.
As long as it's not Billy, they're good.
Yeah.
No,
so,
I'm just kidding.
so they all do this. Now, with me, Dad will do like a rough draft, but I know what it's supposed to look like. So I go find what I need to find, and then I draw it. And then I start putting things in and doing all these other things that I wanted the illustration to look, because it's just a rough draft at first. And then once I do that and I get it on the page, well, Dad wants to look at it again. Well, you know what's going to happen when he looks at it? Oh, there's some space here. I can do this. He starts adding shit. It never fails.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, I mean, we've already proven like how good you are at like the illustrations, because there was one time, just so everyone knows, like, I don't know if everyone knows this, but we were just sitting there, had some extra time after the show, and I was like, dude, I was just wiring a wedge motor. I was like, we could do all the colors, the points, everything, and you're like, oh, so do this one gray? I was like, no. I was like, that one's purple. You know, and you did them all. You did all the colors and everything, like, perfect. It was sweet, man. I'm proud of that illustration. Like, I thought that was
30 minutes.
Yeah,
I put that whole thing out.
Less than that.
I can't believe you did it that quick.
It was probably like 15 minutes, but it was quick, but it was cool because I was like, no, do it like this. No, this is 0.6. No, this is 0.4. But like I remembered all of them by heart, and it was pretty cool. And now
you know what's interesting is I'm at the point now, and Bill can testify to this. For about the last 10 years, I've been drawing illustrations, just getting this, and I draw certain things, and some of these illustrations, I mean, it could take me, just take like that vat that you were looking at, that rolled through and all that. That took me about 14 hours to draw that thing in that kind of detail, because you got to move stuff behind, do this, you got to get the color in. I mean, it's a very meticulous thing that you have to go through. But I took all that time drawing all these different transformers, all these different motors, these vats, all this hazardous location equipment. It's just been so many hours put in. I couldn't even, just a bunch. So I've got a catalog that's built up of all different items, and then I pull from those items and draw. Now, naturally, I've got to draw some of them new, you know, for new stuff that I want to do. But
can you pull up that illustration, the high voltage live motor one?
I'll tell you what I can do. Give me 1 second.
You should put it in like our thing, because like, dude, that was so cool, man. Like, that is like, you look at a wedge motor, you see those colors, you're like, oh, 4, 7, 2, you know, like you just look at it, you're like, boom, done.
Yeah, I think I have it. Let me make,
because it was high voltage wiring. But that'd be cool if you could put it up on the full screen. Like,
well, I think I had it over in the thing. Let me look here.
You could do it like another time too, but
no. I think I can grab it real quick. I gotta find it here real quick. Because I kept it over on the side of all my uploads that I do for the podcasts and everything.
Yeah, so we were just sitting there, and I was like, man, that'd be really cool if you show like the internal wiring of
I've got it right there.
motor.
Give me 1 second, and I'll have it. put
We
in.
just drew it up real quick. That was pretty awesome.
There we go.
That was pretty.
Just give me
pretty
1
good.
second, and I'll just make a copy of it and upload it to the site. Okay, that looks
Yeah, well, we should have it in
pretty
there.
good.
It should
Okay.
be like our logo. It should go in like our intro. Or
Just
something.
download this. I'll go like this. No one do a
Yeah,
transparent.
because you have to do it to PDF.
Okay, just get it. It'll download here real quick. It doesn't take that long. The great thing is I keep everything in groups and stuff where I want it to go, and
Nice.
then I build it out from there. So let's see. I think I can. Let me do an image file here.
Yeah, you should. It should be in our image files. Like I could just sit there and pull that up.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
dude,
go.
there it is, perfect. Like, dude, that's so cool, man. Oh man, like, and like all those colors are like accurate for like what the terminals actually look like inside the motor and everything. So, that's really cool, man. I like
Yeah, we
that a
did
lot.
that really quick too.
Yeah.
It was
And
just
so-
like boom, boom, boom. I was putting it together. It's
And
like,
so what a lot of people are like, oh man, you can't have white in there, you know, like, but that's actually what the T2 terminal is actually colored. So if you want like a clockwise rotation, you'll do like a brown, white, yellow, and then if you want like a counterclockwise rotation, you'll do like a brown, orange, yellow the other way. So like you could actually switch those around in the motor terminals depending on what your line 1, line 2, line 3 coming in. But that's your T1, T2, T3. That's your high voltage connections. But it's pretty sweet just because that was like in my head, and that's like pretty sweet little.
yeah, I'll
setup.
show you here. Let me get over here real quick.
I was like, man, we need to put that on a T-shirt, dude, because people will buy that, man. That's freaking sweet. Like,
I'll
dude,
I'll
you
put that on. I'll set one up here real quick
Okay.
on the other thing. Here is, since we're there. Let me.
I'm
Hello,
buying
everybody.
that. I'm buying that for my T-shirt, man. That's freaking
That
sweet.
is chapter 3. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so you should be able to see this. This is the design book, chapter 3, that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Just so everybody gets an idea. These are what the service illustrations are going to look like. And what's going to be cool is we're doing a relayout of the design book. So we'll have electrical codes and standards, then we'll have electrical systems, then you'll have services, and then you'll have switchboards and panel boards, and then you'll have grounding, and then you'll have working clearances.
Nice.
So we're keeping it just like you're at the service, and then we're going to branch out from there.
Nice.
Okay. So, but this gives you a really, really good idea of the type of illustrations that you're going to see that we're developing right now. So
Nice.
this one is a service where you got 2 services, and you have your first service, which is your service equipment, and the second service is for a fire pump. Okay. And this particular one, I set it up like they were at a fire station. Okay. Something cool and something a little bit different. And then did another one where you have an emergency system that's set up as your second service. Then we also did one here where you got special occupancies. And this is where you have service equipment set up where you have additional services coming in. Then we did one here where you've got a building that covers a large area. So you start seeing, we start changing the buildings a little bit. And the reason is based on the type of services that are set there. So this is where you have 2 or more services for over 2,000 amps, and they're over 600 volts, or they're at 600 volts or less. Okay.
Okay.
So we're just basically putting all these different things out, and we show you where you're coming in with an overhead or a lateral. Okay.
Gotcha.
And this is where you got different type of voltages. We show you the first service is 120/208, and the second one is a 480/277. Okay. Both of them are 3-phase. This is where you're coming in and you have one service that's coming in and you can have 2 to 6 disconnected means for like maybe an apartment building.
Right.
Okay. So this just gives you a lot of cool looking different installations that are here. And
You know
this
what?
one,
You know what you didn't draw in there?
what's that?
You didn't draw the GFCI protection for the EBSE.
Yeah. And I'm not going to either. But this one, this is not 3 different services in here. This is showing one where you're coming in where you got considered outside. You could have in case where it's in 2 inches, one that's just feeding in, or another one that's an underground lateral that's 18 inches or more below the ground. Okay.
Right.
But and this was the last one. I think that's the last one I did up to this point. No, this is the last one I did. Okay. But we're showing you here where you start getting into clearances. This is where I start the clearances here from your openings and everything. And the next one I'm about to draw is where I'm going to draw one that I haven't drawn yet, is where you have like a barn, and the barn set up and you got the second level, and you know they open the top and they can pass stuff up into the second area. It's an open area. We're going to draw that next.
Nice.
But this gives everybody a really good idea of the type of illustrations you're going to see.
Wow. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm really impressed. The only thing I'm worried about is I just don't want you to be caught by surprise. You know, like if all of a sudden you find out there's been all this material out there for all these years that you haven't found out about, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't have the best anymore. You know, I just don't want you to be like you've been the best, like you know, for all these years. But dude, maybe somebody's better. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I say bring it on. I'll give you your dues. You outdo those. Those illustrations taking some time, brother.
Hey.
I'm telling you.
Hey, you said I'm gonna cheers. You said that you'd eat crow when the Dallas Cowboys got smoked by the Broncos at Mile High, and
I ate it, and it was dirty tasting.
man, dude, Daniel cooked it for like 22 hours too, man.
Yeah, well, he should have felt confident. Our team sucks. but I'm really looking forward this weekend. Didn't I tell you? I said, you watch. I said, if Virginia loses, Louisville loses, I said they could lose. I said it's going to change, and there's a possibility, and I think if Oklahoma beats Alabama, Georgia gets beat by Texas, I think there's a possibility that those two could get in the playoffs.
Dude, Wake Forest is bowl eligible now.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like
I'm just amazed at what's been taking place this last week.
Yeah.
But I told you we're going to get down the last month of the season. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff, and there's teams still fighting. I mean, Michigan can win out if they beat Ohio State. They got a claim.
True.
I mean, I've been checking on everything.
I don't know, man. I don't know if Michigan's gonna beat Ohio State though. Like
I don't think so either. But they wasn't supposed to that one year, and they did. I mean,
dude,
that's
like
one of them games that anything can happen.
Wasn't there like a gang fight at the end of the game, like out in the middle of the field?
I think so. I love watching them go at it.
Yeah,
it's like that game's like Texas and Oklahoma. Forget the freaking record. It doesn't matter. I mean, Oklahoma came in this year undefeated, and Texas dominated them.
Yeah.
If they'd have played any kind of good offense, they would have beat them by more. And then I think the Texas-Georgia game is going to be one hell of a game. And I think Oklahoma-Alabama is going to be a hell of a game too. And damn shame I didn't have as my game of the week Ohio State and Penn State. I didn't think Penn State. They got beat at the end of the game, man. With a
it was Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah, but we should probably save some football talk for tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah,
no doubt. So
no, dude, it's really awesome. really happy that we hit 40,000 on my group, and like you helped me out a lot, make a lot of this stuff possible, and I'll just keep pushing it through. I'll put out a new podcast here tonight. I'm gonna send out an audio Spotify that us talking about required lighting outlets, and it's really cool because we just kind of bring everything full circle. All these other code guys out there talk about this and that. We actually do it full circle. We bring you all the code loops, we bring you all the different stuff.
Well, we do.
And we do it on a weekly basis, and it's so much fun. So much fun to do. We just kind of just do it just for fun and just to kind of mess around. And King James is the king of code. He's got all these illustrations out there, and we could tap from him. Anybody could ask me any question. Dude, there's been people that just call me out of the blue and like, hey, ask me a question. And I'm like, oh, I don't know that. I'll ask King James. And then I ask you, and you're like, yeah, it's easy, And that makes it cool that we're doing this. And, it's like, oh, yeah, that's a question we asked in 2024, or whatever. And it's just really cool. Just kind of build this library of all this stuff we're doing, just having fun and just.
And one thing I'll say, everybody watching this podcast, share this podcast. Let it get out there so people know the availability of the information that's out there. There's one reason I started at, when did we start? Probably about March. I think it was March. I started covering all the code changes that took place that were in the second draft. And as I was going through those, now what you're seeing is all those changes that I've been covering. Now you're getting to see the illustrations and the amount of detail and information that's in those illustrations to go with that change.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of foreshadowing, but it's really cool because, like, every week we try to cover 4 or 5. Well, sometimes what would happen is I'd take up too much time. He couldn't get his code changes in, so it took a little bit longer, but it was a lot of fun.
We're finishing it this Thursday. I'm going through 7 and 8. I'm done after this week.
I'm not knocking you for how long it took because we got really passionate back in May. We had Bryce Nesbitt. King James had a thing he had to take care of, so he couldn't join. And so I just did a free-for-all. I had Bryce Nesbitt on, had David Engelhardt on as guests, and we did our own show. It was 2 hours, just straight 2 hours, just talk about EBSE. It was so crazy. I still even look back, I'm like, what? How do we do that, And now it's even still the stuff that passed for 2026, I think is completely ridiculous. The qualified person, the lockable, the listed receptacle device, all the stuff that passed for 2026. I'm just like, what? It's so dumb. So you're sitting there saying that a 50 amp receptacle for a dryer is not listed for continuous duty. You're sitting there saying that 50 amp receptacle for a welder or something's not listed for continuous duty. Now we have to have some listed one for EBSE. To me, it's just ridiculous. I'm just like, what? What's the difference? It's funny because I always go in as a joke. I always go in the supply house like, hey, do you have that listed receptacle yet? They're like, nope. Because it's just so dumb. It's like, if I'm going to go install one, I'm going to install a 50 amp, 250 volt rated, whatever, and that's what I'm going to install. And it's going to be fine. But now under 2026, it's supposed to be a listed one that's listed for EBSE charging and has to have a little sticker on it and all this stuff. I was like, dude, it's so dumb. It's literally going to be the same device with a different sticker put on it. It's just, I don't know, man.
Before we go, I want to show one more thing. I want to show them Builder's Bookstore, where you can go in here and you'll see that the pre-orders are already set up. If you want a hard copy here, the code changes in 70E, and you'll see the new covers that are coming out. We got some really sharp looking new covers coming out. The old ones just used to be a solid color. We're going away from that. Matter of fact, the design book I've already redone. That one is going to look different. And for high voltage, for less than 1,000 volts, I've literally completely redone the way it looks. Matter of fact, I'll show it to you real quick because I already have the tab open.
And that is the #1 electrical publication in the Builder's Bookstore.
Yes, we sell quite a few copies. And needless to say, I mean, we really sell quite a few copies of that publication. Let me go over here. Let me stop sharing and let me go to the other one. Open that other tab. And I'll show you what the new cover is going to look like. There we go. Okay. That is going to be the new cover.
All right. Yeah, that's like way tighter.
Yeah, you see, because it's a design, we did like a little design schematic.
Okay.
That's here, and there was a guy sort of set behind it a little bit with his hard hat and everything. So that's going to be the new design cover.
And then it just says 2026 on it, right?
Yep, it's already set with the 2026, and you'll see that it's part 1 of the design series, and this is less than 1,000 volts.
All right.
So it's all
cool.
Set. We've already started developing all this stuff, getting it ready. Matter of fact, they had to have everything for the covers that were coming up because they're going to start setting the catalog. So I've designed every cover that is going to go in.
Dude, the crowd goes wild, man.
Yeah, it's been a long road, brother.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everybody. You know, it's one thing, you know, you got this and this, but there's other things I'm doing all the time, you know. And like I spent this weekend, that's all I did was get all the covers ready and got all them done so I don't have to deal with them later. But, and then I was working on some of the chapter 3 service things. And, you know, like when you deal with Article 230, if I'll just ask you to see what you come up with. How many illustrations do you think are in that chapter?
I'm gonna say like in like over 50.
68.
Oh, dang! I was close.
And when you look at electrical systems, there were 38 in it, or 39 with a B. There were 39 in it. So,
wow.
And that's what I'm saying. We're going to have those as little individual books because 68 illustrations, that's a full freaking book for most publications. So
True.
We're going to sell those as individuals, and I'll have those on there. You can get those. And that's why I say when you're looking at all those packages that are going to be offered and all the different things you can get is going to be awesome. And I'm also going to set up the subscription service where you can have access and just pay monthly. You know, it's cheaper if you want to do it that way.
Well, and like for everyone out there, just to know, I decided to go, hey James, you should have a bronze, a silver, and a gold. That would be the best. And then, I don't know if you know this, but I have a book coming out soon, my own. I have the Myth book coming out.
Yeah, I'm going to help him with that one.
Yep.
And it'll look good because, you know, I want to do something like that. And when we do something like that, I want to have a good picture or something, and I want to draw and then put some extra information into it.
True. Yeah,
because
it's gonna be
think
fun.
about this. By the time we get ready to do that, maybe around summer, but you're going to be looking, we're going to be close getting somewhere around close to 200 myths. That'd be a big full book.
We're probably not gonna. We'll probably do the same thing like what you do. Like even though that like nothing changed in 210.8f, we won't cover 210.8f. You know what I mean? Like it'll be like the same thing what you do on like the code changes.
Yeah,
you know
just
what I
say
mean?
what it says, and then I give my comment on it.
Yeah.
That this is where we got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So, that kind of stuff. That's what we're gonna kind of try to do with
That's
them.
funny
Yeah.
because Jeremy, he told me, he goes, well, you said exactly what I said. I said, yeah, but did you read the comment? I said,
Yeah.
I have to tell them what they said, but then I'm going to tell you where the problem is.
100%.
So,
Well, dude, I appreciate everyone joining us. This was like a really awesome episode. Like I didn't imagine this going 2 hours. And here we are. But that was
always.
that was really awesome. Like I say, dude, your material is so awesome, and I just want to make sure that you just don't get hurt that bad when you find out there's always been some better material out there. That just nobody's ever just taken a chance to compare, because that's all you really have to do, just have that chance to compare. But
I've
like I
been
said,
asking for what, 3 or 4 years now?
I don't know. I think it's been out there. They just been shy or something, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I'll say
But
this. One of the reasons I've always thought our publications were really good is because of all the time and effort Dad had put into that and doing all the different codes, standards, reference, and everything and tying it all in. That's really where it was. And now what's happening is I'm drawing the illustrations and we're taking all that information he put in through all these years and combining it. And it's making the illustrations, the publications look very, they look very technical, but they're easy to follow. That's the
true.
difference right there.
Well, and you know me, I'm not shy. Like when I see something and I'm like out in the field and I'm like, wait, this, like the way you have that, it doesn't really make sense for this. And like usually it's just a simple like flipping something a reverse, or
Sure.
because like a lot of times that's what my feedback I've had on some of your illustrations is like when you're looking at it, it's like you're looking at it through the wall. It's like no, you got to spin it around. It's like you're looking at it like this.
Hmm.
And it's 100% accurate. But then some of the drawings that you get, or some of the drawings that you reference, are like inverted or whatever.
Well, that's why I had
But
to redraw some of the stuff.
yeah, and it's really not that big of a deal. And that's why I say, like, if any of you guys out there see something you don't like, whatever, just let us know. Like, dude,
Well,
we've redrawn stuff like here live on the show. Just
think of
let
it
us know.
this way. Nothing against my little brother Billy, but he's not an electrician. And the way we're drawing them now, I'm an electrician. I've been out in the field. I know what the hell I'm looking at and the way I want to look at it as I'm approaching it. Well, that's why these other publications have problems, because they have to hire an illustrator, don't have any experience or know anything about electrical. They don't know what they're drawing. I know what I'm drawing. And that's why you're starting to see the illustrations look cleaner. They're more detailed, exactly to the type of thing I want you to look at. It's just like, take that one I showed, the laser. You know, I
Yeah.
was looking, I go, no, this way, but man, this is cool right here. This is what the inner workings of a laser looks like, you know, and not information they really have to have, but people are go, wow, I didn't know that. You know,
Dude, they
that's what
have
that is. That's a ruby red.
Dude, we used to like, so this back in the day, we used to have to like when you make like a brass tag for the freaking service, you'd have to like take this little stamp kit and put like whatever the address is and pound it into the brass
Hmm.
tag. Like now you just send that brass tag through, it says beep 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 beep, and it's all boom.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to put compound them in anymore. So
Technology, baby.
yeah, dude,
And
I'm telling you, like to me when I saw that, it's like laser etch, and like I think that machine was like $1,000 or something like that. And you
sure,
just send that thing through, bing, 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 and it's ready to go, and you don't have to pound nothing.
when you get into these illustrations and you start really getting dialed in on them and everything, one of the reasons I'm able to do a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is because of technology and the different drawing tools that they have to allow me to pull off some of the curves and everything to get it a certain way. It's the drawing tools that allow me to do it, and overlays and all this other crap. But it took me a good solid 3 years to learn how to use all that crap. I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't like you just don't walk in and just start doing that stuff. There's a big learning curve. It's just like being an electrician. You know, in your apprentice, there's a hell of a learning curve. And then once you turn out, there's another learning curve.
Yeah.
You know,
Of course there is.
it's like I've always said, who's the most dangerous electrician there is? The person that gets their journeyman license, because they all of a sudden think they know everything.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of truth behind that. Like the way we state it, and I'll probably get crucified for this one, is the smartest person on the job is a fourth year apprentice. The dumbest person on the job is a first year journeyman.
Yeah, that's true. I'm telling you. Yeah, and I know that because I was the exact same way. I thought, boy, I'm crapping in high cotton, baby. I know what I'm doing.
Dude, I was like running crews and stuff when I was a fourth year, you know, and I was doing good, man. I was like getting everything right, you know. Minute I got my license, like, man, you know, I don't need to follow this. I don't need to follow that. I got a license now. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, you have to even follow that even more now, you know.
That's
like,
right.
Not less, you know. So, yeah.
And that's the great thing about this podcast because we cover so many different things and go through, you know, especially where we're going to start next year, what, 4 years or 5 years, whatever we've been doing it. And we literally go through and we take you through step by step on a lot of this stuff.
I think it'll be 4 years in February.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We started like
4 years.
Yeah.
God dang, that's a long time, man. You wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, it was crazy because this time of year, 4 years ago, when all of a sudden all these guys started like, hey, we do a show on this day and stuff like that, you know, all these code guys, you know, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Like, that'd be fun to do. And so we just decided to do it. And like I say, like, you had like so much cool material and everything. And it was so much fun. Like, you're able to just go in your dad's slides and all your dad's stuff that he's got. And like, it's pretty cool to, like, I could have any question in the world. Like, the funniest one was that dry location one. Because you went back, like, all the way to, like, the 60s, and you're like, dude, I'm done. And I was like, what? I was like, wasn't it, like, 2000 or something? And you're like, nah. I was like, because didn't it just go back, like, a little ways or something? Because I thought that they did it, like, in, like, the 2000s or something to, like, increase construction or something like that.
I think so.
And you're like, dude, I went back to 65. It's still in there. I was like, what? Yep. I couldn't believe that. I was just like, what?
Yep.
So, but it's a lot of fun. I appreciate it. I know that everyone's had a lot of patience hanging out with us tonight. And like I said,
we appreciate it. Make sure to share the link. That's all we ask. Share the links. And, you know, I was looking, I think it was yesterday or something. I don't remember. But I was looking at our YouTube, and I need to go over. I got some work I need to do on that stuff. But we're sitting over now. We're at 431 subscribers now.
All right.
It seems like we're just adding more and more each time, and we appreciate everybody joining. Yeah. Tell everybody. We would like to eventually get this up to where we got like 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah. And dude, our podcast from Thursday was at like 59 views or something.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow. I was like, usually it's like 24, 40 or something like that.
They're going up. And the thing that has been interesting, and shout out to our Rumble out there, because we've been slowly but surely increasing on Rumble. And I think you take, we've had, let's see, like we're doing this night, we got 3 views going on right now. But last week we had 15. The week before that, 18. The week before that, 12. And then we had 14. And the one on 9th, we didn't have any views. I don't know what happened there. Then before that, we had 22. So we're getting quite a bit. The thing that amazes me is we just do it for fun on the side. But
Yeah.
Monday Morning Coach, I mean, we had 32 views.
Nice.
So
We will be there tomorrow for
Yeah, we
Monday
will.
Morning Coach, and I will send you over who I'm thinking is going to be our
sounds good to me.
game of the week and everything. But I appreciate you, James.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good time, and like I say, I just don't want you to be let down for when you find out that there's been better material out there for all these years. And
Well, I figured I'd be when I'm around 75. I'm gonna be retiring anyway.
all right, well, we'll make sure that you don't have like a premature heart attack by 75 or something. So that's what I want to make sure. I like, dude, even Daniel, like when I tell Daniel about this, I'll be like, hey, you have to comfort King James because there could be some better material out there. And he'll be like, hey,
Screw Daniel. Screw you.
he'll be like, put some respect on these other educators out there. But
I'm waiting for him to put that one out for me. He hadn't done that yet.
Oh, dude, I don't think he's gonna. But we'll see. I just don't want you to get like a premature heart attack before 75. So
I'll get over it.
I appreciate it. As always, remember, make every day an easy day. I'm out. I gotta go watch some football.
Me too. Everybody have a good week. Or it's already over. We'll see some of y'all tomorrow.
Yep. Sounds
Peace.
good. Deuces.